What is up, YouTube? It's your girl Celia and I'm back with another video. Today we're getting into the story time when my ex-best friend backstabbed me to get with my man. It's a crazy world we live in. But if you would like to see this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into this juicy story time. Y'all already know what this story time gonna be about. I'm gonna try to make it quick because girl, my camera is about to die. Anyway, so like I said, this is a story time of when my ex-best friend backstabbed me to get with my man. Now, I know what y'all thinking. Y'all like, what? Yes, like, and I'm not saying, you know how some people be like, oh, that was my best friend of 3 years, 4 years. Baby, that was my best friend from high school. It was at least 7 years in when she did what she did. Of course, disclaimer, all of my story times are usually from years ago. So this is not something that just recently happened. It has been happened or happened years ago. 365 days in a year. It feels like forever. Finally, time to talk about it. Anyway, so let's begin. So like I said, I was best friends with this girl since high school. Like at first we were really, really close. And then that's when we kind of like slowed down on communication. But then later on, we got really, really back close. Now, mind you, I don't have a lot of best friends. Like, I don't have a lot of close friends. I have a lot of acquaintances or whatever, but I don't have a lot of close friends. And I consider her one of my close friends. Like, we talked about everything, and we were just there for each other. Just as any of my best friends, we were all there for each other, you know, whenever we needed each other. So she was almost like really close, like to the point where we all almost got matching tattoos to value our friendship. So anyways, now I know y'all wondering like, how did she even get to stealing your man? What happened? So on and so forth. So I'm not gonna go too much over like her and how we met. I'm just gonna go straight to the story time. So mind y'all, this guy that I was dealing with, I was completely in love with him, and I just felt like it was me and him against the world. He was a little older, but I really loved him. Like, I really loved him. It was just a great, you know, situation until it wasn't. He was a Virgo. I am an Aquarius. If this means anything, I feel like we always clashed a lot. But the thing about it, I always tracked Virgos. I don't know what it is, but we always like clashed a lot. But whenever we clashed, we always made up, and it was like fiery. It was really good. So just so happened this day we were like clashing. Like, we was kind of at odds, but it wasn't super bad. Like, we were, you know, in and out. Like, it wasn't just terrible, but whatever. So like I said, we were on our ends, and I think at that time we kind of was like on a break or something. I just really don't remember. But what I do remember, during this time I had got invited to Las Vegas. Now, when I got invited to Las Vegas, this guy was just like, hey, it's just gonna be a trip. You can bring your homegirls, or you can bring whoever, you know, you can bring whoever you want, and, you know, I'll pay for it. Da 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 da. So I was like, that'll be cool. Like, I'm interested, like whatever. So you know what I did? I invited my homegirl. I invited my best friend of forever, like my best friend for real. So I invited her. I was like, hey, you want to come? She was like, you know, it's a paid trip to go to Las Vegas, have some fun. Excuse me, I'll be with you, so I'm comfortable. It wasn't a trip like that. Mind you, I didn't have no sexual relations with the guy. None of that on the trip. It was literally just to go out there and have a good time. So of course, whenever you go on a trip, you're going to tell your friends, or you're going to tell your best friends like, hey, I'm about to go on this trip. You're talking about it. I'm a woman. We talk about it. We all gossip about it, whatever. It was one of those type of things. But I didn't think me talking to her about this trip was going to backfire on me. Okay. So anyways, as soon as me and my best friend lands in Las Vegas, I get a text from the guy that I'm like in and out with. We're going to call him Z. So I get a text from Z, and he's like, look, you know, I wish you the best. I know where you're at. I know who you're with. Da 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 da. And I'm like, how would he know that? Like, that's crazy. Mind you, me and all my best friends basically like worked at the same place. So I text my best friend, we gonna call her B. I text B like, hey, are you at work? She's like, yeah, I'm here. Like, what's up? I was like, is Z there? And she was like, yeah, he's here. I see him. And I was like, oh, well, you know, can you go check on him? Because I'm not sure what's going on. But he just texted me, da 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 da. So she's like, yeah, I got you. Like, I'll go over there after I'm done, like, taking care of what I need to take care of. Cool. Okay. So anyways, fast forward. We're in Las Vegas. My friend is like, hey, you need to calm down. Like, don't worry about him. He's going to end up making a trip bad. Don't even have that type of energy. So I'm like, I understand what you're saying. Again, this was not one of them trips where I was having sexual relations with anyone. It was not one of those trips at all. It was not an intimate trip. It was literally just for fun. As soon as we land out there, it was straight fun. But I was still kind of like reserved a little bit because I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, he's texting me like we're done, like completely, da 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 da. And I'm like, it's not even what he would think it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even that. Even though I probably should never gone on a trip without talking to him about it first and make sure he was okay with it. But mind y'all, we was on like sort of a break, which isn't an excuse, but still, it, you know, how did he know? Like, okay, whatever. So, he ended up, after I was cool down, I was like, you know what, I text him, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, like, you know, this is a girl's trip, da 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 da, I'll talk to you later. So I was like, I will talk to him about it once I get to that step, but right now I cannot have him messing up this trip because I just needed some breath of fresh air. So I'm in a trip, had a good time, had a grand time, mind y'all. B went to go talk to Z and she's like, oh no, he's fine, like, I don't know, you know, he did say someone told him some things, but I don't know who. He hasn't told me who. So I'm like, okay, well, if you can really find out who, that'll be amazing. Now mind y'all, I had introduced B to Z when I first started dealing with him because I introduced him to all of my best friends. Now, I introduced him to all of my close best friends, which again, I only have a few, which is like 2 or 3. So I'm like, hey, you know, this is the guy I'm dealing with. I'm obviously in love with him. It's been most likely, I think at that point, like almost a year or like at least like 7 or 8 months. So I'm like, you know, it was me and him locked in. So anyways, get back home from the trip and I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to lock in and figure out what's going on. So I go to him and I'm just like, hey, like, let's talk. Because at this point, I'm at work, he's there, and he's like, okay, we can sit down and have a conversation. Mind you, B wasn't around, nobody was around, it was just me and him having a conversation. So he's just like, yeah, you know, I really think we should just leave this alone because I just heard all kind of things. I know where you were at. I know this, that, and the third. And I know the things that you've said about me, that you're talking about me, da, 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 da. So in my head at the time, I'm like, wait a second. How did he know all this information? Mind y'all, I'm not the type to just talk. I'm talking about deep personal stuff with strangers. So I'm like, this has to come from someone that knows me, right? So off rip, I'm not thinking her, but in my head, I'm like, maybe, right? So I literally go to him, you know, after the conversation, while we having a conversation, I ask him, I'm like, hey, who told you these things? Like, where did you get this information from? So he's like, oh, just some random girl, da whatever. Why would a random girl know what I'm doing, know what I'm talking, know everything about it, whatever the case may be? So I'm just like, okay, because he's obviously not going to tell me who. So fast forward, I ended up speaking to her about it. I'm like, yeah, he told me that, you know, I didn't tell her what he said it was a random girl. I told her, he told me that it was a girl who told him, and he told me basically like who it was. And so I kind of seen that she acted kind of shifty, and she was like, oh, what did he tell you, like how she looked, or who was it, or whatever the case may be, or you know what they said, and da 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 da. So I take that conversation, I'm like, you know, I don't even want to talk about it, whatever. So I go to my actual best friend and I tell her like, look, I think she's got something else going on, and I think she's the one that told. So of course, mind y'all, these been my best friends since high school. My best friend's like, no, I think you're overthinking it. She would never do that. Like, we've been knowing each other way too long. That would never happen. I'm like, I think that's what happened. So she's like, I say don't believe it until it's proof in the pudding. Okay, cool. So maybe a month passed by and me and him barely talked, and I'm like, at this point, I gotta have a conversation with him. Like, I need to know what's going on. My camera wants to die on me. Shout out to my camera or whatever. But anyway, so back to how I found out it was her that told. One day I ended up at work, and he walked in, and he's like, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, are you okay? Well, you know, whatever the case may be, like, can we talk? And so he's like, well, I'm here to like see someone, but you know, we could talk another time. So I'm just like, what is going on? So of course, me, my best friends were all at work. Y'all, when I tell y'all, this man, he goes and like sit at his table. She sits down with him. B sits down with Z. And I'm talking about, she's just doing things like popping her, okay, all in front of this man, busting it wide open. And the thing that I didn't explain to y'all earlier was that she was supposed to be interested in his friend. So it's just like the whole circumstance was so confusing, because I'm like, there's literally no way that I trusted you with 7 years of trust, 7 years of knowing my business, 7 years of meeting like people that was close to me, 7 years of just friendship down the drain. So at that moment, I'm telling y'all, it's hot, it's heated, I'm pissed. I'm texting her like, what's going on? Like, are you serious right now? You sat up here and you played me. Like, you literally act like you wasn't involved with him, and you act like you didn't know what he was talking about, and you told him everything. So the thing was, she wasn't denying it. It's like she was just like, I don't care, like energy. And so at this point, we about to fight, because it's not the fact I'm fighting over him. It's the fact that I trusted you and you was weird. You were a weirdo. So I literally, y'all, I'm telling y'all, we literally is about to fight upstairs. Like, we about to fight. And so she comes downstairs trying to speak to me. I'm like, girl, I have nothing to say to you. I will never talk to you again. You don't have nothing to say with me. Do what you do. You look corny. You're weird. You told him everything, y'all. She told him everything. Everything I told her about him. Everything I told her that we shared together. Anything that I told her out of confidence, she literally told him. So at that moment, it all clicked for me, and I was like, you can never in your life ever step to me and talk to me. I don't care how many years in the future. Like, I don't care. You have no way to ever come to me and ever talk to me ever again. I don't want nothing to do with you. And so, long story short, that ended our friendship, and she backstabbed me. Okay, she backstabbed me because when I was in Las Vegas, she told him I was in Las Vegas, and she told him everything. And the thing was, she didn't have to do that, because you wanted what I was getting, my lifestyle. He involved himself with you after that because he was hurt, because he ended up coming back anyway. He was hurt. So of course he's going to try to hurt me by involving himself with you. And now you just look stupid because you lost an actual friend, and you just gave yourself to someone that truly don't even care about you for real. And you backstabbed me in order to get in that position. So honestly, I wiped my hands with that whole situation, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, so she basically told him I was in Las Vegas, and everything I've ever told her, she told him. Okay? And after that, he kind of wanted us to have a sit-down conversation and reconcile. But y'all, I really, for everyone watching this, all the women and all the men, please do not backstab an actual friend. Do not. When someone tells you something in confidence and with trust, that's because they trust you. People don't realize losing a friend hurts. Like, that stuff hurts. It's honestly worse than a breakup, because that's someone that you think, when it's that many years, that much trust, you think that's gonna be my friend to the end. No. It was like, I don't know whether it was the money, I don't know if it was the lifestyle, I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, she wanted what I had. Like, and it was just so weird, because everyone time comes, and I'm just like, it was just insane. So yeah, that's the story. about how my best friend backstabbed me to get with my man. And when I say backstab me, she backstabbed me. Okay, she told him all my business, and yeah, don't do it. For future references, I learned from that situation, when it comes to friendships, I had that mindset, that young mindset, that you're supposed to be sharing. Sometimes, at being a woman, even sometimes you want to talk about it, you want to share it, and you want to get it off your chest, or whatever the case may be. Don't share everything. Be very mindful of what you're sharing with people. Sometimes it's good to get a book, like a diary, write it down with a key, lock it, put it away. That's gonna be your best bet. Talk to God about it, because honestly, you don't know who you could really trust in the end. Like, you know what I'm saying? It could be years down the line, and that person just either A, want to be you, B, hate, have hatred towards you, and it might not even be on purpose. Sometimes people hate on accident, just off the feeling that they have inside. What they say might be some hate, and they can't even, it's not even clicking to them that they're hating. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So that's the end of my story time. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other videos, and I will see you guys in the next story time. Bye.